Welcome to my channel, Boomzibi Beauty. My name is Juliana. I am an accountant and I'm an accountant who loves makeup. If you are new here, you are highly welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Today we're going to be having a look at the Glamshop palette I got, and I'm going to be giving you my opinion on all of these palettes. So I got the Ciepla palette, Color Rem palette, Zilong palette. We'll be looking at them individually. The Laguna palette, Paparika palette, the Love Glam Box edition 10, I think. And lastly, I also got the Tobina palette. I'm also going to be swatching their new marble shades I got. So I got 6. The middle row, they are just mattes I got, but the marble shades are the ones on top and at the bottom. So I'm going to be doing quick swatches of those as well. I did get some other single shades from them, but again, that's a lot. That's probably going to be another video. I don't want the video to be too long. If I try and put all of this together, it's just going to be too long. So I'm just doing the palette as well as the marble shades. And by the way, the palette I've actually got my high is the Paparika palette, and I also used one shade from the Ciepla palette. And I filmed this look. I don't know when it will be out, but subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos. The first marble shadow I'm going to swatch is called Fashion for Success. And this is what it looks like on my hand. And swatched, that is Fashion for Success. So the way to really apply this is to kind of let it disperse on your skin so that the warmth of your skin will melt it. And that's the best way to apply it on your eyes as well. Can you see the difference? Look at that. That is beautiful. So that's Fashion for Success. Okay, the next marble shade is called Narcissus. And this is Narcissus swatched. Again, just gently spread it all over your skin. And also the best way to kind of like get the shadows out is to tap it. So don't like swatch, because if you swipe all your finger out, they will break on you. You just want to kind of like melt it onto your skin. And that's Narcissus. Beautiful. Okay, the next marble shade is called Scandal. Scandal as in scandalous. Anyway, this is what it looks like. And swatched. That's Scandal. Look how bright and shiny that is. That's beautiful. Scandal. So I'm going to wipe my hand off and do the next 3 swatches. So the next shade is Weather for the Rich. That's what it looks like. And swatched. How beautiful. So that's like a bronzy, but they all have like different, it's like a color burst. They've got color burst in them. So different flecks of color within the shadows. That's Weather for the Rich. The next marble shade is called Mirage. And this is Mirage. And Mirage swatched. How gorgeous that is. Mirage. It's beautiful, shiny, reflective. The last marble shade I got is Alexis, and this is Alexis. So Alexis swatched. How gorgeous that is. So that's like bronze with hints of blue, and when you swipe it all over, then the blue kind of becomes like a tie-dye situation. Look how beautiful and gorgeous that is. I mean, as mentioned earlier, the trick is to let the shadows melt onto your fingers, melt onto your brush, and the way you apply, let it melt onto your skin. That's the best way to get the reflection out of them. So that's all the marble shades I got. Now let's get into the palettes. If you are bothered by glitters or glitter and your body bothers you, then these shadows are not for you. Right now, I've swatched 6 shades and I'm covered in flecks of glitter. Okay, let's start with this Ciepla palette. Ciepla, yeah, that's the way I can call it. Ciepla palette from Glamshop. And these are the shades. I have to bring this closer to the camera because from here you can't see because of the white background, but if I bring it closer then you can better see it. So this is what I have in my inner corner. I laid it over a golden shade. Oh, beautiful. And I'm just going to swatch just the shimmers because I mean mattes are mattes. Alright, these are the shimmers in this palette. That particular white one is very soft, so this is definitely one of the shadows you want to pat down when you're trying to scoop it up. And these are the swatches of the shimmers in the Ciepla palette. And lastly, that white. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Very reflective, very buttery, and very soft. So those are the shimmers in the Ciepla palette. Alright, for curiosity's sake, I'm just going to give you a feel of the shimmers in this palette. So as you can see, there's powder, there's kickback in the pan. So they are quite powdery, they are mattes. So you have to be careful. As you will see in this tutorial, I had to lay down my mattes. Rather than swipe them, I kind of like lay down my matte. So this is the way I apply my shadows. Can you see? So you get your color payoff because it's quite pigmented, but you get very, very minimal fallout as opposed to doing this. If you do this, you will not get good payoff and it'll be all over your face. So that's the only thing I can say about their mattes. So which is why I'm not going to be swatching their mattes unless the color is quite unique. And if you notice, I'm using a fluffy brush and with a light color and you still get that payoff. They are pigmented. There's no doubt about that. The pigment is there. It's just quite powdery. Alright, that was the Ciepla palette. Let's move on to Z Color Rem palette. That's the packaging. And again, it's a white palette. And this is what the shades inside looks like. This is absolutely beautiful. And that yellow and orange, oh my, I just can't wait. So this is what it looks like closely. Now let's swatch the shimmers. So those are the 4 shimmers in the palette. And as you can see my hands, they are just beautiful. Swatch them. Oh my, look at that. Oof, that's definitely a multi-chrome. Oh, and that yellow, oh my gosh. Oof, wow, these are beautiful, beautiful shades. So that is the Z Color Rem palette. Right, the next palette is the Laguna palette. I am looking forward to using this one as well. I love that color. I just love the color. This is the inside of the Laguna palette. It's mainly a turquoise bluish kind of palette. Now let's swatch the shimmers. Look at that. So that's the blue. Oh my, that's like a blue green. And then the 4th one. Beautiful. Now let's swatch the next 3 shades. Oh, it's like a peachy brown, and lastly one that looks like white in the palette. Gorgeous. Alright, the next palette we're gonna have a look at is the Paparika palette, and that's the palette I've got on my eye today. So this is the inside of the Paparika palette. So it's mainly a red and orange palette, and there are 5 shimmers. Yeah, 5 shimmers and 4 mattes. So I'm going to swatch the shimmers now. The first 3 shimmers. Beautiful. Now the next 2. Okay. The next 2 shimmers are quite similar. One is like a dark wine and one is like a pinkish kind of wine. And that's what that looks like. And the dark wine, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love the shades. especially this one. I don't know if you can see well. I don't know if you can see properly. It's like a mixture of orange and yellow. Absolutely beautiful. And that's the Paparika palette, which again I've got on my eyes today. Alright, the next palette is also a £9 one, and it's called Zilong Zilong palette. And that's what the packaging looks like. And as for the inside, this is what it looks like. Now again, I've used this palette. This is not as powdery as the other ones. I don't know whether it's because of the kind of shades, but this one, I can't remember experiencing any fallout. This was absolutely beautiful. And when I actually used this shadow, it was during the week. I used it without primer, just to let you know. Absolutely pigmented, no primer. I just put down the matte on my lid and put the shimmers. Now let's see what the shimmers look like. The Zilong palette also has 5 shimmers, so let's see what they look like. So that's the first one. Oh, look at that, beautiful. That's like apple green. I want to say chartreuse, but no, it's more green than chartreuse. It's so beautiful. And that's that one right there. Swatch some more. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Now let's swatch the next 3. Oh no, now let's swatch the next 2 shimmers. And these are the last 2 shimmers in the Zilong palette. Oh my, oh wow, look at that green shimmer. Absolutely beautiful. So these are the shimmers in the Zilong palette. For those who might be curious, especially because of this unusual green, I'm going to swatch the matte in this palette as well. Okay, let's see what the matte looks like. I love green, so this palette was a must for me. That looks like an apple green, and this is like a, I want to call it lime green. Just going to swatch that again. My hands are wet, so that kind of like just went absorbed into my skin. And oh gosh, that's like a grayish green, like a khaki grayish green. And that's just gorgeous and beautiful. So these are the mattes in the Zilong palette, an absolutely beautiful palette. I can tell you that the experience of using this was just honestly effortless, beautiful palette. If you love green, definitely this one is recommended. Up next is the Love Glam palette, and this is what it looks like. So that's the packaging, and that's the inside of the palette. So this is the one I said came completely shattered, and even with the replacement, this is still very wonky. I had to press it down into the pan, so just be wary of that. And there are only 5 shimmers. Okay, let's swatch the shimmers in this palette. Alright, I was actually wrong. There are 6 shimmers in this palette. So this is the first one, so that's the crumbly one. And that's what it looks like, peach pink. And then the third one, which is like what do you want to call this, brownish gray or bronzy. Well, these are the first 3 shimmers, and the next 3 shimmers. So this is like yellowish. So these shimmers are actually mainly just your generic shimmer. So there isn't like they're not like the special ones. They are so crumbly. Although that white one is a special one, but the rest of it, the 5, they are just normal shimmers that we are used to. So these are the 5 shimmers in that Glam box palette. Love Glam palette, I beg your pardon. As for the mattes, I mean, they're just generic shades. So you've got your black, your wine, light brown, and a white. So that is it, like a whitish cream. So they're just generic mattes. So if you're not bothered about mattes and you just want this palette for the shimmers, they are absolutely beautiful. So those are the shimmers. Beautiful. Okay, lastly it brings us to the Tobina palette, which is my favorite, and that's just the packaging, same as the outside of the palette. And the reason why this is my favorite palette, as you can see, is all special shades. No mattes, just all special shimmers. Just hope you can see. Hope the camera is doing it justice. Look how beautiful and gorgeous that is. If you love your special shades, this is one palette to get. I mean, if I only got one palette, it would have been this one. Absolutely beautiful. And when it came, there was no damage. It came absolutely intact. And let's just get swatching. I cannot wait. I for one cannot wait to swatch this palette. So beautiful. I'm just going to start from there and work my way downwards. In fact, one of them is a multi-chrome. This one, this finger, there is a multi-chrome called Tobina, and that's that shade right here. That's why you can see green. I'm seeing red. Yeah, that's a multi-chrome. Okay, reading from the back, it looks like all the shadows are actually turbo. They are turbo shades. So as you know, they have like different kind of single shades. So this is their turbo glow. Okay, first shade. Look how gorgeous that is. Second one, and this is the duochrome. I'm just gonna swatch that again. So that's the good duochrome, and then the fourth shade. Okay, so those are the first 4 shades in that palette. Now let's move on to the next 4. Okay, the next 4. So that's like a bluish purple, and then this is just like a lilac purple. I think this next one might be a duochrome as well. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it is a duochrome. It has a green shifts to it. And the 8 shimmer. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, and the last 2 shimmers. Absolutely gorgeous. Right, and that's all the shimmers in the Tobina palette. This is what they look like. Absolutely gorgeous. And let's just have a look up close again. Absolutely gorgeous shades. I think it's coming to an age where if a shimmer is not this shiny and sparkly, is no longer considered a shimmer. I mean, I bought a palette recently, and the shimmer was just like the shimmers we used to have like 2 years ago, and I was like, what on earth is this? It's like we are so used to the shiny, soft, reflective shimmers now that we are so spoiled. Honestly, this palette is gorgeous, and if you are definitely into the reflective shimmers, this is one for you to get. This is the one I will recommend if you like your reflective, shiny, soft shadows. This is definitely one I would recommend for you. Alright, these are the other singles I got from Glamshop, but I'm not going to swatch them today as mentioned earlier, but I just want to give a comparison of, there's a particular shade that looks like the blue in this palette. Alright, that's that blue there from the Tobina palette. I'm just going to swatch it to the side so we can compare. Yeah, and that's Laguna. Don't know if you can see both. Yeah, like the way it looks like the same. Yeah, it definitely looks the same. Look how gorgeous that is. If I ever recommend a single shade to you, it's this one. If you're into blue and turquoise, absolutely beautiful. That's gonna stain my hand now. Yeah, I can't see any difference. It looks definitely the same to me. So if you have this palette, you definitely don't need this. And if you are wanting this palette because of the blue and you already have this Laguna, then don't bother. They look exactly the same. Well, from the angle I'm looking at the camera anyway. Alright, that brings us to the end of this video. So these are all the palettes I got from Glamshop, as well as the single shades that I've swatched for you. Okay, my final thoughts on this palette. They are pigmented. They are soft, that's the shimmers. The mattes are pigmented, but they are quite dry and powdery, so be careful when you apply them. Or do your eyes first before you do your face makeup. Or if you prefer to do your face, then again, pat, as mentioned earlier. You just have to pat down the mattes to avoid fallout. But they are pigmented, so it's not a question of whether they are pigmented or not. They are pigmented, but can be dry. As for the shimmers, they are beautiful and gorgeous. Apart from the Love Glam palette, that's the one that just have the main normal shimmers. With the rest of the palette, they have the special, you know, glittery reflective shimmers. So if that's what you want, then you know which ones to pick. Overall, they are quite affordable, they are beautiful shades, and they are very comparable to indie brands in the US. As for the shipping, as mentioned, one of my shadows did come shattered. Even though they do take care, they put some sort of like a foam on top of all of the shades, but that particular one came totally shattered. My first order from them, nothing was damaged. It was just my second order where that palette was damaged. But they've replaced it. No, they didn't give me any issues at all. I just showed them the pictures and they sent me a replacement the next day. So I'm quite satisfied with my buying experience. So that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, share, and consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, I'll see you.